You're listening to the RMPodcast, the official podcast of Red Moon Productions. Here are your hosts, Brandon Davidson, Keith Cheatham, and Sean Sebastian. Enjoy.
Welcome to another episode of the Red Moon Podcast. Sounded like a Muslim just going off there. I didn't know what was coming. Your favorite night of the week, Tuesday Night Live, on all your favorite social media accounts. That's right. We don't care if we're offended, and we don't care to offend anybody else. That's right. Tune in for your live entertainment weekly. Right here on all the social medias. Like, share, subscribe. Appreciate all the follows, all the love that we can muster. I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host, Sean Sebastian. And
Mustard Love.
Mustard Love.
Mustard
just sounds gross.
You got Vanilla Steve and Mustard Love. Oh. Vanilla Steve is nice. Mustard Love sounds awful.
Sounds like a torture tactic.
I love it.
It's like,
what would you rather have, Vanilla Steam or Mustard Love?
It's like, see, everybody...
it's like you start with the Vanilla Steam and then you work your way to the Mustard Love.
For sakes. You tease him because Vanilla Steam is what you want.
Foreplay. I'm the foreplay. Keith's the pounding.
Mustard Love.
He's the Mustard Love.
It's like, yeah, we got rid of waterboarding and put in Mustard Love.
Oh, God. It's like terrorists talk 10 times faster now.
It's like all them guys at Gitmo. They're going to get Mustard Love tonight.
If we had Mustard Love back during 9/11, we would have had Saddam and
that's right.
Like that.
Osama bin Laden would
have drowned him in mustard.
They would, yeah.
Like open up.
It's against the Geneva Convention.
Yeah.
But like, you better shut up or I'm going to use spicy brown.
Desperate times call for desperate tactics.
Desperate mustard. It reminded me of the other guys. You know, it's like we got a jar of mustard.
Oh, God.
Some talk radio.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Dirty Mike and the boys.
Oh, boy.
Got an old jar of mustard, and we're going to listen to talk radio real loud. It's a great movie, man. The Other Guys is fantastic.
Why do we have plates on our table?
Whoa.
I don't know.
Maybe because it's got these nice...
Oh, these are Corel ware. These are good.
And these are the ones that don't break, remember?
That's right.
We tested it out on the show.
Made in the USA. That's why they don't freaking break.
We got some good fancy chocolate to try out here.
These ain't China.
This ain't
China.
No, not
is
China.
US China.
We got the he, him, and the she, her bars to try. Oh, yeah, nuts and nutless.
I want those nuts.
Jeremy's chocolate. Yeah. We're going to try it right here on the show. This is replacing
nuts.
Hershey's all across the land. If you're confused about your gender, this will help you figure it out right here.
Yep.
With a yummy, sweet taste of chocolate.
Which one do you like the most?
I like nuts.
We're going to find out.
That's gender-affirming care.
We're going to divide up the chocolate here. Let's do this right out of the gate.
Okay. We want some chocolate.
There's enough, like I said, for us to each have 4 squares.
4 squares.
So
I'm
going to break it up here.
7 squares. Go.
I knew it as soon as he said it.
Oh gosh,
Lincoln.
Oh, this is the nuts. I got the nuts here.
Do you need help?
Here, hold on. I'm gonna pass it around.
Just pass the bar around.
Here's the. Oh wait, I'll just put them both on there. Hold on. I gotta divvy this up. I maybe should have divvied this up before we started.
That's fine. We can talk while you divvy up.
That's right.
Break off your 4 and just pass the bar.
You should bring up the.
Pass the bar.
I'll pass it. The quote that we just read from Spielberg.
Yeah.
We pass the bar.
It's not really in our headlines. I mean, because it just hit, but it was, and it's not so huge that we have to really go deep into it. But he was being interviewed, and he was talking about revising films. I was just thought you were going to pass the bar and we'd break.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay. I'll take it.
I passed the bar.
It's fine.
Here you go.
You touched that with your fingers.
All right, continue.
How do I know where they've been?
Continue with. I washed my hands with Dawn.
Dawn. It says anyways because he was talking about revising old films, and he has for a while. Well, I just let him do it while I talk.
First, yeah.
While I talk, and I'll take whatever's left. So he is mentioned in the past regretting editing E.T. for like its anniversary back in like 2001. It was right after 9/11 happened. He edited out guns from the movie and there's a scene where the mom's arguing with the
guns
older...
took down the two towers.
Well, there's a scene where the mom is arguing with the older brother about what he's going to wear for Halloween, and she said, no, you cannot go out as a terrorist, and that was edited to, no, you cannot go out as a hobo, which is what he actually goes out with in the movie so I'm like... In one, he didn't get his way. In the other, he does.
How much of this are we supposed to be having?
Four squares each. From both. Yeah, you got two of each. So you get two more.
I get 2 more?
Yeah, you get 2 more.
You get 2 more, man. And then he gets the leftover. Yeah.
Well, that's...
We're divvying it up evenly. Yeah. We got to taste
understand.
this thoroughly.
So...
I just think it was brave and
making me
not
have to
brave.
count.
Yeah, you got to count.
I didn't want to
there you go.
count.
Saying
Yeah.
simple
Yeah.
math.
I think
Yeah.
that's right.
You get 2 more I'm confused.
You got to have
I
enough
only got
nuts.
6. How do I do
That's what I said. Hold on.
You
which
get-
one's nuts and which one's not? Because I can't tell on the...
Nuts.
The nuts have the nuts on them.
Well, I couldn't see on his.
I got 3 of each.
He got 3 of each.
Guys, we're proving that gender ideology
There we
is
go.
confusing.
It's very confusing.
This is not good.
There we
I
go.
am confused.
I like that you can see the nuts though. Most of them is just in there, and that's
I
just
agree.
Kind of,
It's
kind
like
of-
the nuts are on the bottom.
It's a little
yeah.
different. Yeah,
Truthfully,
a little different.
and I'm gonna be honest, I
kinda
like
like it.
this better than Hershey's, where it's like the almonds in there and
I'm
the
allergic
chocolate.
to nuts.
Mm.
Oh, I
don't know
like
what
nuts.
kind these
So,
are.
anyways,
Oh.
his full-on quote though,
Oh,
before we
we're not
trace
supposed
the
to start
chocolate,
Yeah, just
is he's
Oh, wait.
always not liked editing it. And they're talking about in general, especially in today's time when you see Gone with the Wind that has a warning before it and other movies that have warnings, and people are like, well, maybe we should edit certain scenes out. There's talked about like Disney so far only does the warnings, but there's been talk in the past about like editing out scenes from Dumbo and other movies.
oh yeah, we've
So,
seen the
yeah.
self-censorship too
And
from a lot
so
of these
far
creators.
nobody has, but I've started with published books, and if people will edit and censor published books, then the movies are surely
Well, we
next.
just ran into that with him. He passed a long time ago, so he has no say so in the matter of the estate of the book.
Roald Dahl.
Roald Dahl, yep.
Which, of course, the publishing company backtracked and was like, well, we're still going to publish the originals, too, for people that want them. And I'm
You
like...
don't need edited versions.
Yeah, it's stupid. But anyway, Spielberg's quote was, no film should be revised based on the lenses we now are either voluntarily or being forced to peer through. And I agree with that. I
Absolutely.
agree. It's like it doesn't matter what's going on in the current culture climate, whether you agree with it or you don't agree with it. Films are a product of the day they were made in.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, if you think there is a problem, use that as a teaching moment. Don't censor it out for...
Yeah.
So,
Make,
I mean,
make
you
woke
know,
movies, and then we get to choose not
I was
to
about
see
to
them.
Last night, I started watching Ben-Hur.
Great movie.
And
Great movie.
fantastic.
I got to the part where
I'm going to show the
There's
what
nothing
chocolate
offensive in
looked
Ben-Hur.
like.
Don't
yeah,
lie.
there is.
Don't
he
lie.
gets to the guy that's got the horses, the race horses or chariot horses.
Oh, yeah.
and that guy's in blackface and like major blackface.
I thought you said there was something offensive in Her.
I'm
See?
just saying. When I saw that, I was like, that guy's in blackface.
Yeah.
And then I just kept watching it.
Yeah.
I didn't really give a crap.
You mean there wasn't like a slate that popped up and said,
No.
this is insensitive?
No.
and, yeah, you need to
It's because
repent?
at the time that film was made, I guess they cast a white guy to play an Arab, so they
Well, it was the 50s,
basically
so they wouldn't have had...
painted him brown. And
Well, they were racist. They could have got a real Arab, and they chose not to
no,
because they were insensitive.
Arabs
and
weren't
jerks.
around in the
They didn't
1950s.
exist in the 50s.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
That's true. That's accurate.
But I agree with good old Spielberg.
Should we try our chocolate?
Yeah, what are we trying first?
Let's try the nutless.
Nutless.
Okay. The
Let's
he,
try
him?
the
female.
he, him.
No, it's the
No,
she,
the
her.
she-her.
I'm
Oh my
sorry.
God, Keith, women
I
don't
was
have
throwing
nuts.
you off. He was going to agree with me. The she, her.
This is terrible. It's chocolate.
It's okay.
It's not fantastic.
I mean, it's chocolate, but
It is
honestly,
chocolate.
it's
It's
not the
good with
best chocolate
coffee,
I've
though.
had.
It's better than Hershey's. Hershey's it's got a defined taste, but I've never really liked Hershey's.
Well, Hershey's is
I've
just-
only liked Hershey's on s'mores.
Hershey's is like not real chocolate; it's candy. I mean, which is the same thing. But I'm just saying it is. It's very sweet, a milk chocolate.
I like it.
It's meant to be.
Do they have a dark chocolate?
Ooh, that would be the next evolution.
That's
If
the
they
race,
can make
the
a-
race chocolate, and not the
There-
gender
oh.
chocolate.
They should have a white,
White
and
and
a
a
black.
black.
Oh,
I can say I like the he him too, though. The nuts are fine.
Oh, I haven't got
oh, I haven't tried nuts. Hold on.
Well, they're not like big chunks of almond, like in like Hershey's or other. You know what I'm saying? It's crushed nuts sprinkled on there.
Ooh,
I'm okay with that.
I like the nuts better.
I like nuts in my chocolate anyway. I like nuts.
Does that mean we're gay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crap.
Well, that's what I wasn't sure of.
Snickers, Payday. I
Is
prefer
this like
candy
is
with
this
that.
like Bud Light? If you drink it, you turn into a woman. If I eat the she, her, do I turn into a woman? Do I transition?
You're already a woman, so it won't matter.
Maybe I need to save a nut first.
Should probably save 2.
If I eat the nut last, I'll make sure I'm a man.
Man.
So
feel
we're just
like a
going back
woman.
and forth. It's like I eat the she, her, and
I
I'm a
actually-
girl, and then
I'm going to
It's
save
weird.
some of mine for later.
Dude, I ain't gonna lie.
I like it. I like it.
prefer. I don't normally like nuts in my chocolate.
I love nuts in my chocolate.
The closest
Mr.
I come
Goodbar.
to, I don't like Mr. Goodbar. I like Crackle with the Rice Krispies.
Nah.
I prefer it over Mr. Goodbar. But these, this nuts, these are legit.
That's good.
No, it actually is pretty good.
It's not too nutty.
It's funny. We were looking to see. We were trying to see if we could figure out who actually
No.
made the chocolate, and it just says made by Jeremy's Razors.
Yeah.
It's like, okay then.
Like what? They had to get a
I ain't gonna
candy
lie.
company to make it.
It is kind of weird that because I know he calls it Jeremy's Chocolate, but they don't have they didn't make a whole new website. They just put it under the Jeremy Razors .com/ whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought it was funny because I'm like, you know how like back in the 70s, like Halloween candy would have razors in it.
Yeah.
And I'm just my first thought is
Yeah.
chocolate and razors.
Now it's fentanyl.
Yeah, it's like distributed.
There's no razors anymore.
It does. It says distributed by Jeremy's Razors LLC, Lebanon, Tennessee, and I'm like, yeah, It's like
Lebanon.
razors and chocolate. That's a good combo.
Yeah.
There you go. There's another little tongue-in-cheek moment from them, I'm sure.
That's good.
I actually no, I yeah, like you said, milk chocolate, it's fine. I would like to see a dark chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean,
But the
this is
nuts-
still milk chocolate, but I
The
mean,
he him bar is I actually really prefer that.
it's
Well,
it's
you
not,
should because you're
You're a
a male.
Maybe that's what it is.
It's not overly sugary like Hershey's milk chocolate is, and that's what that's one
It's
reason.
smooth.
That's one reason I don't care, like, because I'm not big on chocolate anyways. Like, I prefer other types of candies because chocolate's just very like sweet and rich a lot of times. Like, I love dark chocolate because it's not as
I think
rich.
most candy is supposed to be sweet though.
Yeah,
Keith,
but
I'm
I like
sorry.
more. Not that
Mild,
sweet.
mild.
Kind of the
I like
point.
more of a mellow
Well-
or like dark chocolate, which is that bittersweet. I don't
Yeah,
like the
dark
super
chocolate's
sugar.
bitter.
True.
So
Well, and the thing is Keith, you're not a big chocolate fan in general.
He just said
You
that.
you typically like fruit. Oh, he did.
Yeah.
I totally did not.
like this coffee with these fruity notes.
Which that's some Sunnergoss coffee there.
Yeah, coffee and chocolate go very well together.
I prefer milk, but I didn't have any with me. I got to get water during the review, which we do have a review.
What's the review?
Yeah, hey, I mean, we do talk about movies
I
on
mean,
this show.
we wouldn't.
While we enjoy our chocolate. Chocolate's something you can enjoy at the movies.
Here's the thing. We had a string of really great movies in a row. And then last week we had the choice between two like horror centric films and we chose poorly. And this week we had a choice between two horror kind of, I mean, Beau Was Afraid's not pure horror, it's more comedic horror. But still, we had a choice and once again
it's
we
Ari
chose,
Aster.
You
You
know.
don't know where it's going
So
with Ari
yeah.
Aster.
So if you want to hear how our choice ended up this week, let's just play the review.
I guess let's roll into it.
Once again, we were offered up two dark films to review. Last week, we took the road less traveled, mainly to avoid sad Russell Crowe. We chose poorly. This week, we took the road more traveled, instead of a joyful outing with the delightfully mad Joaquin Phoenix. Mad Joaquin Phoenix. We were again not rewarded. The Deadites return after several scrapped film ideas, including direct sequels to Army of Darkness and 2013's Evil Dead, and a short-lived series, Ash vs. the Evil Dead. Warner Brothers and New Line, in association with Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell, and Robert Tappert, bring us The Evil Dead Rise, a semi-standalone reboot written and directed by Lee Cronin. Starring Lily Sullivan as Beth and Alyssa Sutherland as Ellie, Ellie is a single mom living in a rundown apartment raising her three kids, Danny, Bridget, and Cassie. Beth, her sister, is a rock groupie who has recently gotten pregnant. Danny discovers a book buried beneath the apartment complex after a recent earthquake, alongside mysterious records, which Danny plays, revealing the book to be the Book of the Dead. Texts from the book are recited from the records, unleashing hell upon the apartment complex. The main plot and setup are all more or less Evil Dead. From the demonic beings never referred to as Deadites in this film, though still designed in the same vein as prior movies, to the Necronomicon, Also never referred to as such, with a much more generic design, the movie has the bones of what is Evil Dead, but much like avoiding direct references to past franchise mainstays, there's no meat on the Evil Dead Rises bones. The movie has a handful of Easter eggs from the other films and of course a boomstick and chainsaw. But outside of the generic setup of some dumb schmuck coming across the Necronomicon and accidentally raising evil by reading from its pages, there's not much else in the film other than the over-the-top gore that makes it feel like Sam Raimi's Evil Dead franchise. Sure, Federico Alvarez's Evil Dead from 2013 also played with the tone and style, toning down some of the more outlandish camp for something a bit more serious, but it also delivered much better stylized and choreographed kills and gore. Evil Dead Rise feels like a milquetoast edition in the vein of 2013's reboot, but with none of the humor of the original nor creativity of the reboot. There's plenty of violence and blood, but as in the case with many recent films, the characters are mostly unlikable or so shallow there's nothing to relate to. Audiences aren't given anything to care about when deaths begin, and while in some cases this can be good when people die in such brutal fashion, you still need at least one person to root for, one person you want to see persevere. And that character in this film received little emotional depth until the film's end, coming way too late. Likewise, the kills aren't creative or fun, just gore. Sure, the Evil Dead franchise is no stranger to viscera, but usually it comes with some level of camp or wit to offset the gore. This is just a mediocre plot with people turning into pulp. A brief lesson about family and motherhood is a running theme, but again, with such a weak plot and characters, it falls flat. Ultimately, The Evil Dead Rise has none of the charm that its predecessors do. Those just looking for the generic setup of a book bringing forth deadites to kill and maim will be satisfied, and the film has been well received by critics and general audiences. I, on the other hand, say if you're a fan of Raimi and Bruce Campbell's work, don't bother. Check out Joaquin Phoenix instead. Joyfully mad, Joaquin Phoenix. I give Evil Dead Rise 2 out of 4 stars.
2 out of 4 stars. I'm actually going to go lower.
Yeah, you were generous.
I'm going to go at 1.5.
That's fine.
Same.
I just did not feel this film at all. I was very, again, I agree with you completely on the review. I was not taken aback by the gore at all. It wasn't that turned me off. I've seen plenty of gory films. I kind of know that's this franchise's MO. It just, there was nothing more than that.
No, there wasn't. I didn't think it was, knowing like the other Evil Dead films, like I didn't think it was something so far off base that I was going to go lower than 2. But it doesn't add anything at all to the franchise, and it doesn't really even, like I said in the review, it has plenty of little Easter eggs and references, but even certain things like I said, they never call the possessed deadites in this film, which is fine. They don't really have to. But then they don't even call the book the Necronomicon. They use the Latin name when he's listening to the records. But there's just things about the movie that I'm like, you're doing Evil Dead tropes to fit in with Evil Dead, and just like the cinematography with the drone,
the camera, the camera floating.
That's something like that's very much something Sam Raimi originated and has been in every Evil Dead.
It didn't look as good in this movie.
It did.
No,
I know. From the very beginning, I was like, this is really weak. It wasn't as low, because usually it's very low to the ground. It's quick and going up to whatever cabin or wherever it's leading.
It's jarring, and in this movie, it wasn't jarring. It
was kind of comical looking.
Yeah.
It was a little too.
Well,
too
in this
humorous.
one, it was almost like. It looked
smooth.
like it was on a drone, which was the point when the drone, like when they do the jump scare and it's a drone. But I'm like, it looked like it was done with the drone. The other, like Evil Dead from the 80s, doesn't look like a drone flew through.
They do it by hand and then they speed it up to make it look like it's going really fast.
Yeah, like Lucas with Return of the Jedi when they do the
speeder bikes.
Yes, and it's one of those things where I was just like, I don't know. There's enough in it that I understand why casual fans and critics have given it a pass. They're like, oh yeah, it's another addition to Evil Dead, and I'm like, but only at face value, and that's the problem I have. It's like I don't want just a generic milquetoast. It's like, okay, but there's nothing about it. It loses really all of the humor from Sam Raimi's trilogy. There's no real comedy in the movie, which granted the 2013 reboot was more serious as well, but it still had some camp and wit. And this doesn't have anything. It doesn't have character development. So I don't. Maybe I was too generous. I'm over passionate now.
Really, the crux in the film for me was and I don't normally do this. You all know that, but the woke angle was what hit me hard and caught my attention more than anything.
You think
like
it was just too overt?
I could not get past the fact that it was just. And again, I have nothing against female characters, whatever, but it was blatantly everybody was female. All the men were stupid and died. It had your trans girl. It had, the mom and trans man. Yeah, whatever. There was a trans.
And see, I didn't.
The mom being like all tattooy and gothic, and it fit with it. But then there was so many other things. It was like, yeah, sure, the guy with the gun is the fat white cis redneck, and of course the black guy in the movie is the one who is like buff and good looking, and he's like, we already have enough trouble with guns. I don't think you should get that. Now it was just like. I just felt like it was loaded. Everything was loaded. I didn't like it.
I think there were definitely moments. I didn't think the whole thing was because like Brandon mentioned a point when I was doing the review that I actually agree with. The people in the apartment, like the mom and all that, are the ones that end up. I don't want to spoil things, but are being attacked as you would think that type of person would by a demonic presence because they have no faith.
Because they're weak, yeah.
And because that was something that bugged me at first too, is like how they even treated religion at first. Considering the fact that the whole premise of these movies come from demonic possession, so you can't act like that Christianity's fake.
I think anybody who opens the book and repeats the words is going to have a problem with this demon.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. It's like they're the ones that happen to do it.
That's nowhere. I don't think that was anywhere this movie's intention either to say, well, see, this is what happens when you don't have
meddle.
faith.
Yeah,
like,
But and there's no doubt in my mind the filmmakers would be repulsed and even ignore any kind of notion that was the case they were trying to point out. I mean, they would just be like, no, this is just and I think that's the catch-22 we have in the culture war and in society. When it's funny because we're pointing that out as Christians on the show that very much are involved week to week within the culture war on this podcast, but also for them to be so blind as to have that undertone and not even see it as an undertone, because in their minds they're just like, no, these are just people living their lives and look what terrible tragedy happened to them. And we're sitting here thinking, no, in the opposite event of what happened, none of these people had any redeeming quality. Yeah. There were only two things of the movie that I thought were somewhat redeeming, that I was kind of shocked to see it in a modern, especially a horror film like this. And that was one that clearly it's got the mother figure role. You have I forget what the actress's name is or her character's name is in the movie, but she's pregnant.
Beth.
Beth.
Yeah.
And the fact that when the evil Lily, the evil mother, when she's possessed, is like sniffing down her body to take her soul, and she gets to her stomach and she's like, oh, two souls.
Yeah.
And I was
they acknowledge that's a life.
I was actually like a little surprised by that. I was like, oh, well, that's okay. That, kudos to that at least. And then there was also just, that undertone as well that I don't think they were intentionally trying to do, but it was like, okay, they are clearly broken people that live in this broken world, and yet it's like the mother's all tatted up,
broken apartment.
She's literally allowing her daughter to go protest, and you see her make two protest signs. One's eat the rich. It was just so comically overdone.
Generic type too, though, for that type of
generic.
Cool the earth again.
Yeah,
was the other one.
That
or
was
keep
the other
cool
one.
Or
but
something
that was what's so weird is I'm like, it was so in your face to the extent that the gore was that I'm like, are they playing this angle?
Yeah.
I don't think that they are, but I'm like, is it tongue in cheek enough to be like, am I supposed to root for these people to get their comeuppance because they're just kind of not really great people?
Maybe that was part of the camp and humor they were attempting that just fell flat. It's like, are these supposed to be like satirical versions of people?
Of the stereotypes?
Because in that case, you didn't go far enough. I will say, because I did appreciate, the two souls. I appreciate, even though they didn't do enough to build the development over the whole course of the movie, I did like at the end when she accepts that being a mom's a great thing.
Right.
I appreciate that too, though I wish they had built that more along the way.
Well, and that's the part that's glossed over is you can clearly see.
Well, type of depth was glossed over.
You can clearly see them building that story arc, but then they literally have only two scenes that are very rushed through between Beth's character and this little girl and her becoming the mother figure because the actual mom's possessed. And I was just like, there just wasn't anything for me to care about these characters. All the stereotypes were just that, stereotypes. They were surface level. There was no depth to Danny other than, trans man. There was no depth to that the teenage girl because she's just an activist. There's no depth to the mom. Then she's going through a divorce and she's got to raise these 3 daughters on her own. It's like there just wasn't anything other than the surface level, and they just wanted to get you into the action. And I hate to say it, but once you get to some of the action, it then takes a back seat to just cliche.
Either, yeah.
It's all stuff we've seen before.
I do think that's the thing. Like with us pointing out some of the things we noticed as far as faith and things that we don't think the director necessarily intended, but we kind of saw were things that nevertheless are kind of in the film. I think that's just a case of the truth. No, like you can deny the truth all you want, but when you are actually creating themes that relate to humanity, those universal truths are going to come through no matter what, because it's the truth. You could say it's not, but it is. So I think sometimes that's why we find things in film that maybe directors don't intend, because it's like, I'm sorry, you accidentally stumbled into the truth, but
not intentionally.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Stumbling is the right word to use.
Yeah, because I don't think it was intentional, some of it, but it was just things that I noticed. And I was like, I would say, yeah, that's right, except for that's not the angle you're going for.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't find I found the horror aspect of it good. The gore, I didn't mind. The elevator scene I thought was pretty amazing.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I love how the blood filling up in the elevator is what saves their lives and breaks their fall as they're coming down the elevator shaft. I thought that was great. But it was very unsettling at moments. I felt like the mother crawling on the ceiling over the bathtub and things like that. Like that was cool. That made me think of demonic possession, where some of the other Evil Dead movies are zombie slash demonic, but this one was much more of the the Catholic demonic kind of thing. Like it made me, there was exorcist moments in this for me, which I thought were pretty cool.
And while cool visually, especially some of the cinematography, I liked in the same aspect as the drone at the beginning, which I agree. I think it failed on the attempt it was trying, but there were other times where they do wide street shots and they goes down the street into the hotel building. I thought those were really well done.
The sound too, the changing of the voices and that kind of stuff, I thought was very eerie.
The other thing, just hitting on the exorcist element, that's my only one issue with this film, is because so much is cliche when it comes to borrowed from past franchises that do it better. The idea of this being an Evil Dead movie, I'm like, that's where the camp kind of comes in to bring some levity to the real dark, sadistic nature. Because other than that, I'm just like, I've seen worse things in Hostel or Human Centipede.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yet I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, so you're not quite at that level, but then you don't have the wit or levity to bring us down to, because I look at something like Exorcist and it's way creepier because less is more. Mm-hmm. So you almost overdo it in terms of the gore, aspect, but then that almost brings it down to just a comical level of being overdone, that I'm just like, okay, well now I can't take you seriously. Yeah. And these other movies that do it way better don't do nearly as much.
I felt that way a lot. Sorry.
Go ahead.
I felt that way a lot about the end too, because there was a moment where I actually got a little bit excited for what was coming, but then the movie doesn't pull it off in any satisfying way. It is like when basically the mom becomes like this chimera type thing at the end, where she's like, I don't want to spoil too much, but pulling all the bodies together, and you see the image of the book of what it might look like, and I'm like, oh, like if Sam Raimi had done that in The Evil Dead, it would have been campy and funny, but also like a really badass action moment. Yeah. And we get this thing in the movie, and they don't do anything with it enough. Like, it looks goofy, but they try to treat it seriously, and I'm like, okay, this isn't working, because now you're taking something that could have been like a campy, funny type thing, like the original Evil Dead, and are trying to give it to us like, oh, this is scary, and I'm like, it's not scary.
Not to mention, I feel like there were way too many times where it was a silhouette, and I wanted to see the full. Yeah, like I think I told you right before you recorded.
I think they kept it a silhouette because they knew it looked goofy. And they didn't know what to do with it.
No, exactly. But to me, I'm like, I bring this up because I just played through the game and I'm on a second playthrough. But the Resident Evil 4, even just the original, I was like, the great thing about the remake is that it does bring back so many elements, but they take some of the goofier elements that, again, are tried and true and perfect for what the original was, and they mature it in such a nice way that it is much more grounded, but also that's what makes it more terrifying, and yet it still harkens back to the memory of playing the original. And anybody who's played Resident Evil games, there's a lot of grotesque, gross moments. There's nothing as, I think, to the excess of gore in Resident. I mean, some things, but not like the blood, coming out of the elevator doors as they open, and nothing like that in the Resident Evil games. But there's plenty of like oozing and gushing of like when you stab something and it bleeds ridiculous. Like there's no amount of blood in a person like that.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, but this is a video game, and it's part of the cool factor that they're showing. But I'm just sitting here and I'm like, that was what it reminded me of, and I'm like, it reminds me again of seeing like the first Avatar. And people were being amazed by some of the spectacle in it. I'm like, well, you've obviously never played a Final Fantasy game. You've obviously never played things that have actually are in a different medium that do it better. And I just kept thinking when I saw that monster, I'm like, this is something straight out of Resident Evil.
Well, it was to me, it was a copy off The Thing, and John Carpenter did it better 40 years ago.
Natural,
in The Thing.
practical effects.
Yeah.
I agree. It's like I just like you said though, it was like the creature design was so hokey. They kept it in kind of the shadows and they only show a little bit, and it's like not enough for you to get super freaked out and scared.
Yeah, I felt like the gore with the creature at the end, I think that was kind of eclipsed by so much of the just the horror aspects that you get before that. Like I felt like the mother and her mannerisms, her walk, everything that she did and said, like even when she says like mommy's with the maggots now, or I just want to eat you all alive or something, like, I mean, it was just so creepy. That was unsettling in a way that I felt like the creature was just unrealistic. Like, I mean, at that point I was like, now you've turned it into a monster flick and or a creature feature and not this demonic thing. And I felt like they didn't need to go that route. The flipping of I have issues with the book because I'm like, in the other movies the pages do kind of flip around and stuff, but I didn't feel like they turned like to the thing that was about to actually happen. I thought that was really weird. It's like, okay, how many times does this book have to flip back and forth before it decides what's going to happen? And then there's other issues that I had just with like plot points as far as like the apartment went. I'm like, about the thing being condemned, yet there's still all these people living in there. And then at the end, it was believable that the old redneck guy and the young black dude and this tattoo artist and her kids are living in there. But then at the end, you get to the other girl
who's like
that comes out all posh and fratty and got her little tennis skirt on.
The lake for a weekend.
Yeah, she's like, whatever, see y'all later. Like, nobody like that would ever live in a place that looked like that.
Right.
No matter how little money they make or whatever. That was completely unbelievable. So the whole idea of this apartment and nobody else is coming there to see if they're okay. There's earthquakes going on. Like, there's all this stuff. I'm like,
what you just said
sense.
too. Yeah, the earthquake was a little bit odd. That it was contrived how Danny finds the book, and I was just like, this inquisitive nature to go down into a hole and see a vault, and it just, again, all of these tropes that I'm like, this doesn't harken back to anything other than just
the
things
book
I've
be
seen.
in a bank vault?
Yeah,
like it was in the vault of a bank.
The cult, when you listen to, but I'm just like,
I get it, but wouldn't they keep it at the basement of the Vatican in a catacomb somewhere? Why would they put it in a freaking bank in whatever city this was in?
I just think.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, I was just going to bring up real quick the people on the floor. I agree. It was like, okay, I was okay with them introducing the other two neighbors and thinking, oh, okay, there are other people in this condemned building. But the fact that there's no other floors that, like you said, hear this or try to come up there, and they make it seem like, oh,
there's
well,
gunshots and screams,
a whole
and
elevator
all kinds
crash.
of stuff.
They made it seem like they were not only living in this condemned building that was supposed to be completely closed the next day.
Bulldozed.
Well, she said she had a month to move out, so I guess they had about 30 days.
And even then, I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, but it seemed like almost all the tenants had already moved out, and these three are still there.
Yeah.
These three,
no boxes.
They're
not packing their
they
stuff
have a
up.
month, but her whole apartment was still fully furnished.
Right.
So.
Yeah,
And I don't know. I just thought there were just so many loose elements that didn't seem tightly woven together to tell a cohesive story.
Well, I think they wanted to move, like, because pretty much all of them, other than Army of Darkness, like they all take place at a cabin in the woods.
Yeah.
And it's like I think they wanted to move away from that setting because it's been done 3 times already. But at the same time, it's like they couldn't think of a clever enough way to keep them isolated. Because it's like, yeah, with the nature of the story, with like them reading from the book and these things happening, it's like it's kind of like Gremlins, where it's like you want to keep it contained because once it gets out, well, then that's just the world's over. So you can't go that far.
Yeah.
So it's like, but whereas both Gremlins movies and the original Evil Dead movies and such had creative ways of keeping it contained, this was just like, well, we want to take it out of the cabin, so we'll put it in an apartment complex, but how do we keep it? Oh, well, it's condemned and nobody's coming, and it's just
there's going to be an earthquake.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
and then they're going to get stuck on their floor because the steps are going to collapse and the elevator won't work. So
and then like the one door they're trying to beat open that's barred shut.
Yeah,
I'm like,
the
if there's
escape
people
ladder
already
or whatever.
living up there, if they're still
that
living
was like
up
the
there, I'm
emergency
like,
fire escape. It's like, why is that locked anyways? It's like, there's a fire,
Yeah.
you can't get out.
Well, the earthquake locked the door.
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, who knows? They don't explain it.
It's like you have an emergency and you need to use the emergency escape, but we can't.
So this movie is as far as the book of the dead, what they call it in the other movies, they call it like the Necronomicon
Yeah, the
or something.
Necronomicon,
So it's
yeah.
like, okay, if that's taken from the other movies and put in this, it's like, great, you're either starting a story over or a reboot, or you're adding another story that has to do with the same book. That's fine. If you're going to harken back to elements from the other movies, at least do it well. I mean, like the whole chainsaw thing was just stupid, and then her
Come and
saying,
get some,
she says 2 lines from in the movie that are Bruce
Ashes,
Campbell's
yeah.
lines, and it's like, if you're gonna do that, like at least do it some justice. But I don't even think they needed to do that at all.
No.
If he's not in the movie, there's no reason to throw his lines in there and give her the chainsaw and then have her pick it up at the end and take it with her like she's gonna be the next Ash.
And that's where you honestly you do the bold thing of coming up with a new catchphrase that's campy and cheesy that she can own. But they could. I don't think that the creativity was on their side.
Right,
they were not thinking outside the box when it came to this film.
It's funny because originally this was meant to be an HBO Max original film, and I believe that. It wasn't until Zaslav and Discovery took over and they started axing certain things and they switched other things to theatrical releases that he was like, oh no, this is good enough for a theatrical release. And I'm like, no, it wasn't. It's like, maybe this is one you should have just scrapped entirely.
I think it came in 2 at the box office though.
Yeah. Well, Evil Dead has a massive
draw,
like cult.
yeah.
I think that's exactly why they did it.
Yeah. But I don't think that's the thing.
Remember, he said franchise films.
Yeah.
We,
Well, it does have Evil Dead has a massive cult following, but that's the thing. It's not, while it is a big franchise, it's not huge. Like, I don't think it's not going to continue to make money. All the Evil Dead fans that wanted to see this movie pretty much probably have already seen this movie.
well, and the devil will be in the details. Ha ha
Oh.
We should have gone and seen Mad
Keith
Joaquin
is
Phoenix.
possessed. We should have. But no,
Mad
we'll
Joaquin
see
Phoenix.
what happens with the box office when this final tally comes out, because it's also arguable to say that if it was on HBO Max, it wouldn't have driven up their subscriber base.
No, I don't
and if that's
they
the
would've come
case,
and
then
gone
they
and
might
been
have said,
forgotten.
"Hey, this is a $30 million movie. We'll throw it in theaters. We make $100 million
True.
back. We'll be fine."
True. It's probably actually is more worth it now because
I threw out 30. I don't know
I
how
don't
much
know.
this was made for.
it couldn't have been that much.
I hope not.
Gosh.
I mean, seeing what
Fake
freaking
blood
Jordan
is
Peele has
expensive
turned
nowadays.
out and Blumhouse and what they can make on a $18 million.
Well, that used to be part of the appeal of Evil Dead is they were cheap pulp horror like B movie, like they were funny and fun, like, and they were graphic, but it's like it's almost like they're taking it too seriously now, and I'm like, that's not the point of Evil Dead.
Used to be
Gross.
2 with
Wow, you were
what?
just a little bit under. It was 44.5. No. That's the current box office. My bad.
Yeah.
19 million was the
Okay.
budget.
Oh,
19
so it's
million.
yeah.
So yeah, I think they made the right call.
So yeah,
Because as long as it stays in there for one more week, which is all it needs, because you've got nothing coming out this week before Guardians, nothing major.
Yeah.
And with that being the case, I mean, it's like it could end
It'll
up
be
pulling
profitable.
in
It'll be profitable.
the amount of money they need to say, "Oh, this is
I
successful."
mean, I like the Evil Dead franchise. If they want to make more, that's fine. But I would just prefer, like, I just wish Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell would come back, like they keep saying they want to, because like they keep, even after this one, they've said, "Oh, we still want to come back and do one movie that ties them all
I
together."
thought Bruce Campbell said he was done.
He did
though.
say he's retired, but Sam Raimi is just like, well, it'd still be nice to do one more movie that ties everything together. So who knows? Because they both executive produced this. Bruce Campbell actually Which is kind of cool. The voice on the record, not the main priest who talks the whole time, but the one guy that you hear come in and be like, "Don't open that book, it's evil." Or that's Bruce Campbell. He did that for the director.
Maybe you should have did the whole movie.
Yeah. Well, the director said he likes to think of that as the actual Ash who's time displaced from Army of Darkness, where he gets.
Okay.
And I'm like, that would be really cool, but that's also a detail of the movie that
You didn't
add.
at all.
But it also would lend into the campy nature of the original, because why is there a time displaced character in your movie if this is a serious movie?
Yeah.
It doesn't make so either way it's like,
well, and that's the thing. They could have really done a cool thing and made it super serious, and then they get to something like that, and then they just go campy towards the last half of the film.
Cabin in the
and
Woods.
It would have been like, yes.
I loved that. Joss Whedon and Drew Goddard, like it's serious all the way up until the monsters show up, and then you start realizing the satire, and it's great.
Yep. Alrighty, guys, there it is. 2 out of 4 for our official. I think we're all kind of reassessing though, and I don't know if Keith's come around to our 1.5.
Wow.
Are you on 1.5 now?
I'll think about it some more.
Okay.
1 3/4.
Let's roll into our
1 3/4
headlines. You all are both banished from the show.
What?
You do not even insinuate that there are quarter ratings. That does not work.
Simple math.
That is an
I give it
abomination.
1 6/8.
Oh!
Oh, God.
No, what would be a real crime is if you use the metric system. It's like
1 centimeter. It's like, what are you talking?
or what is it?
They don't know. They don't know what the F a quarter pounder is. They on the metric system.
Royale. I give it 2.5 Royales.
Well, what is the memes on Twitter always talking about? It's like the Americans will use anything but the metric system, and it's always like, this weighs 600 ducklings or something, you know. And it's like they'll use anything but the metric.
We're stubborn, man. It's like, no, we ain't gonna be like the rest of the world. Screw y'all.
No,
No.
imperial, baby.
Yeah.
Even though that's what we were fighting a revolution to get away from. Alrighty, let's talk about some headlines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's get into the thick of it.
We're gonna start off the top.
We got to,
Let's start off the bottom.
because this news broke right after
It did right after the show.
he got away with it, guys.
He got away with it.
He got away with
Charles Manson strikes again.
it. Alec Baldwin sees his criminal charges dropped.
Baldy.
This was a earth-shattering breaking news when we saw it. The travesty and injustice that is in America today, look no further than this. The ultimate form of privilege. Alec Baldwin sees his charges dropped for the involuntary manslaughter of Helena Hutchins. It's already been over a year and a half. We're rapidly closing in on 2 years this fall that Helena Hutchins was tragically shot on the set. They just started resuming the filming of Rust in Montana after settling with the state of New Mexico and filing or settling with a $100,000 fine because of the tragic shooting. And now we are hoping that as this story kind of comes about, that the prosecution will come back. I know that I am a little bit more jaded in this regard.
I'm a bit skeptical.
But
yeah.
if we want to pull up the article, there's a specific statement from with regard to
because they had said that
the charges
this
being
doesn't
dropped.
mean he's got off scot-free, even though we don't. I have it up if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was trying to make sure this was the right quote. Okay, yes, it is. Over the last few days and in preparation for the May 3rd, 2023 preliminary hearing, new facts were revealed that demand further investigation and forensic analysis in the case against Alexander. No. The case against Alexander Alec Ray Baldwin III. God, he has such a pompous name.
He is. He's a prick.
Consequently, we cannot proceed under the current time constraints and on the facts and evidence turned over by law enforcement in its existing form. We therefore will be dismissing the involuntary manslaughter charges against Mr. Baldwin to conduct further investigation. This decision does not absolve Mr. Baldwin of criminal culpability, and charges may be refiled. Our follow-up investigation will remain active and ongoing. So
It's been a year and a half.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on.
It's like if you don't have the evidence to convict him now,
Well,
it makes me nervous about what you've been doing this whole year and a half.
One of the things that I read about this recently was the fact that, and this has happened in other cases, but the majority of the time that they dismiss charges like this is because they've discovered evidence that can convict on graver charges, like worse charges. So normally the way this would go is they would continue to investigate, but this would mean that they have found evidence that could get him for something other than involuntary manslaughter, which they would come back to later and actually put him in prison.
The only thing that I call into question there is because the Hannah Gutierrez Reed, the armorer, the charges are still
they're still charging.
They're still charging her for involuntary manslaughter.
Right.
So it's almost like in one aspect they're saying, well, we have enough evidence to convict her, but this ongoing investigation is to drop this against Alec Baldwin. And don't worry, there's a chance maybe we'll come back at a later date when we've thoroughly investigated even more with maybe more evidence to conclude that we can convict him on the involuntary manslaughter. Because to me, the big tell sign was back in, I think it was fall of last year, when, and granted, I do think this was a problem on the prosecution side. I think it was a district attorney or the district, I forget what it is, chief prosecutor, or I forget. It's the elected official of the state. I don't know the legalese terms. I don't. She went after him for murder, I think in the third degree or second degree. And of course, this was like they were lambasting this. They were saying there's no way.
Oh, they had the charges dropped. Because
they
the
dropped.
law wasn't that law before. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was because she was trying to convict him on a law that wasn't even on the books when the incident happened. And I'm just sitting here thinking, okay, that was already a shot against the prosecution to begin with. And for that to have taken a blow and given a blow to their credibility, and they just keep hammering away at, Alec Baldwin being innocent, and of course they're all repeating the same stuff. And I'm just like, it's the tried and true, give it enough time, it dies in the spotlight, the matter of interest, public interest goes away, and ultimately what I feel like you're left with is the ultimate form of, celebrity privilege, and someone who has, obviously the endless amounts of funds to have a legal team going to bat for him, pushing everything they can, and you basically have a state prosecution who's kind of like, they're coming out to save face from the very get-go to mean like, we're going to be hard on this and we're going to make sure we get justice for Helena Hutchins, only to ponder and parade around with that kind of, saving face in front of the cameras and in front of the public eye.
Yeah.
Only for a year and a half later, and people are probably thinking, what? Helena Hutchins who? Alec Baldwin? I thought they already settled all that. I thought that was done. Because most people don't care.
It's a news cycle that people have forgotten about, and I think prosecution knows that too, which could be part of reason why they may just be like, well, you know what? It's over, and we don't know what else to do. We've already tried to save face, so let's just turn off the heat. Or to rebut, I agree with you, but to play devil's advocate a little bit, to rebuttal in the case of the armorer, while I don't think there's it could be possible that they are continuing to charge her because they don't have anything worse to go after her
She didn't
with.
pull the trigger.
And it might be one of the things where they're not interested in charging her with anything worse. So it's like, we're going to charge her with what we have now. We don't think there's anything worse we can charge her with, or we're not interested in going after her because Alec Baldwin's the big
what's
fry.
so telling to me.
So it's like, we're going to keep her, but we want to go after something bigger with him because we think we can nail him on it. That's what I would hope. And I agree mostly with what you said earlier. I'm just saying this is the
I do
devil's
too.
advocate.
I was just saying,
Yeah.
and there's been murder cases where they've done this, where they've said, right now it looks like we can get him on this, but that's not enough. We know we can get him on this, so we're gonna drop these charges. We're gonna investigate more. We're gonna use this new evidence, and we're gonna pound him with something heavier later. And that would be the case for a normal human being. But when you're celebrity status and you've got a ton of money to throw at it, you're very right. He could walk away from it. People could just forget about it. But normally that's why they would do something like this. They would let it go to try to pin him on something greater
and
later.
For me, the only thing I don't see how they could pin anything greater on him unless they have evidence showing that he knew without a shadow of a doubt that there were unsafe practices and possible live ammunition on set. Because as of right now, he's able to say, "I didn't know that they did that. I had no clue. They handed me the gun, said it was clean."
But maybe they can prove that he knew there were live ammo on the set.
Yeah, and that's true. That's a big one because then that completely makes him more culpable.
He is the executive producer. He's oversight on pretty much. I mean, he's supposed to be
and
on
if they
everything.
Can prove he knew that they had live ammunition on set that could possibly get mixed up with the blanks, then yeah, I think they could charge him for more. But this is just me speculating. There's absolutely no evidence.
Yeah, we don't have anything.
Yeah.
So.
No, and that's the other thing too is I'm not a lawyer. I don't know the legalese to which they can prosecute him to what's the next charge they could bring against him.
Yeah.
Or even that they're even motioning that is a possibility. You know the what's the card in their pocket that they're wanting to pull out and play at the last minute to say, all right, actually, we've got enough evidence now to convict him on this.
Well, when you drive drunk, you don't get involuntary manslaughter. You knew you could wreck your car and kill somebody. So when you do, you don't get involuntary manslaughter. You get the greater charge. But I mean, it's not voluntary manslaughter.
Well, I guess
right?
it would be it's got to be like murder in the second degree or
it'd
third
be
degree
something
or
like
something.
that. So it's like if he knew that there was negligence and if he knew there was live ammo on the set, then he knew that there was a possibility that something like this can happen, and it did. So there you go. But again, that's speculation. But that's the only greater charge I could think of other than manslaughter.
Yeah, I mean,
they gave her manslaughter, and she didn't pull the trigger.
Right.
And he did. So there's got to be something greater.
It has to be greater. Otherwise, again, it's showing the two-tier justice system we have in this country of those who have the resources and, again, the status.
She don't.
To not be able to. Exactly.
Yeah.
She doesn't.
She's a normal person.
I mean, and the fact that it's like she's going to be raked over the coals for this, and she's already lost her career, whatever one she
had.
And
I guarantee you, because Alec Baldwin's not going to come to her defense.
Well,
he's not going to try to.
He threw her under the bus the first chance he got.
That's my point. Exactly. So he's like, as long as he can get out scot clean, let everybody else take the fall.
Even though that would be that right there, to me, he's culpable because it's like, look, she's the one, if she gets charged and proven guilty in involuntary manslaughter, it's like, well, who's the one responsible for hiring her? Oh, well, Alec Baldwin, he's the EP. So I'm like, I don't know enough about the legal system to even speculate where this could go. Obviously, you hope for justice to be done, at least for the sake of Helena's family. And ultimately, look, it's the right thing to do. Mm-hmm. You know,
when do people do that?
Well, exactly. Especially in today's world. I mean, that's why I'm so jaded on this. I mean,
I get it.
I'm appreciative of them coming out and saying, yes, we're dropping the charges, but wait, it's because we want to make sure this is a thorough investigation. We have more evidence to uncover, which I think is baffling after a year and a half. Mm-hmm. And then the other part of that being, well, the reason why we dropped these charges is because the court date that was coming up, we were not going to have everything in order to press these charges or to make our case and state it well enough that it would actually provide, the proper justice. Yeah. But I still just call BS on that because I'm like, again, for the amount of time that it has been and the fact that you're still moving forward and charging her, the armorer, I just don't understand why this can't be wrapped up in going after him at this moment. I just sadly think
my biggest thing is the time frame.
Everything is going to get swept under the rug, and he's going to get away with it.
The longer we go on, the more likely he is to get away with it. And really, how long, do we expect? Like, it's like they could say, oh, we're going to come back with more charges, but it's like, but how long is that going to take? Because even, not that I give a crap about Baldwin, but technically everyone has a right to a quick and speedy trial. And it's like, so how long is 2 years considered a speedy trial? Like, it's like, not that I feel, but still.
Then when you go back to evidence, though, that crap takes forever.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got the FBI involved a little bit. I mean, think about the Crystal Rogers thing. That's been like 7 years.
Yeah, but
6
it's
or
also
7 years.
But it's because they haven't found any.
Yeah,
but they have something on that guy, on Houck, but they don't have enough to get him, to nail him to the wall, and that's what they're waiting for. They're waiting for enough to put him away for the rest of his life.
But charges
they have
haven't been brought
evidence
against him at all yet. I think that's the difference.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Because Baldwin has been officially charged. So
Yeah,
until you're
I
charged,
understand.
your
Yeah.
right to a trial
Yeah.
doesn't matter because
Yeah.
you have nothing to try.
Well, not only that, but I would also argue too. I mean, I don't have much faith and credit in any of our government agencies,
The
let alone
FBI.
the FBI.
Yeah.
It's like who
Yeah.
knows what the hell they're going on. There's shit that's going on in this country that
Yeah.
they don't even prosecute because it's like, well, it's not on our radar. It's not.
I mean, that freaking
based on the
documentary,
administration
they were
that's
like-
in office, they don't really
Yeah.
prosecute
Yeah.
certain crimes like Hunter Biden and his laptop that we know for certain
Yeah.
is legitimate.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's my point. Is it's like again that goes back to the whole two-tier justice
Yeah.
system because we know for a fact that it is it's just a mockery of what justice is supposed to be. You can't even pretend anymore that anybody really wants to do the right thing because as long as you have, I mean, and that's part and parcel the argument for having less laws on the books or less regulation because while you may think more laws equal greater protection, it's like no, it means I'm going to pay more out of my pocket for some guy who is going to sit there and read through the law to know it better than me as an average person and can hopefully defend me in the court of law. But if it's so ridiculous and all these hoops you have to jump through to get to certain justice, when a man holding a weapon at another person and it fired and she died and
No.
you have no
He fired it.
oh he did.
Yeah.
I'm saying
I know.
I'm saying with everything, all the evidence.
Yeah.
That's the preponderous thing is we know all of these facts.
I mean,
and
how
yet,
much more
and yet
evidence do you
wanna-
need that the gun was in his hand?
Yes.
It's like it didn't magically shoot himself.
Yes.
He was
Right.
holding and pointing it
And
at
the
her
FBI
with eyewitnesses who saw it.
But that's the thing. The FBI's reporting
Yeah.
not only claims this, and it's the exact opposite of what him and his lawyers and his team are arguing. They're trying to get it omitted from the court. They're trying to say, no, this is not evidence. This doesn't need to be included in the trial. And I'm just sitting here, and I'm just like, again, I don't know. I just think it's absolutely absurd that you have the ability to play ball in that way. But again, that's why I'm not making the big bucks.
Yeah.
Because if you were, you could shoot somebody and get away with it.
That's right. Sad but true.
Yep.
All right, we can move on from
He's
this.
like, yep, that's
Just-
it.
there's
That's all we
nothing-
got.
There's nothing
That's all
else
we
to
got.
bring up about
That's
it.
it.
That's all we got.
It's so disappointing and just
It is.
Alec Baldwin deserves to be in prison. That's all I'll say. But as we already kind of covered, Russ did resume
Yeah,
shooting.
they're going to finish the movie.
They resumed shooting
Shooting.
the movie.
Yeah.
Who knows?
They
maybe
might resume shooting somebody
I
else.
mean,
Also
what
might.
I think is funny is he couldn't even get up on a horse. The
Yeah.
dude's so old.
Yeah.
He needed help, not only by a little staircase they had set by the horse. People had to come over and help him get lifted on there. I'm like, what is this, man? It's like
I guarantee you
old
that
geriatric rancher, and I sure as hell think when this movie comes out, he's going to be like a gunslinger.
I guarantee you Kevin Costner ain't got no problems getting up on them horses on Yellowstone.
That's
Ain't
true.
no right.
You
know
he
that's
just hops right on up there.
All right.
Alec Baldwin's just old and fat.
Let's talk about something else, switching tracks to the DCU and the fact that Morbius
No.
beat Shazam 2.
You know, I'm not really that.
but wait,
I am
hold on. I
kind
have
of.
one question. Did it beat it after its re-release? 'Cause that
That's
would be
a-
even-
Oh yeah.
no, because
I don't
Morbius
think it.
flopped
I would say it's re-released.
both
It
times.
didn't make any money, so
No.
I don't think so. I mean, it
That
did.
probably wasn't a factor.
I'm being facetious.
I know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's funny. I mean, I do agree with part of what the studio, like, because we even said at the time, it's like part of it could be because everybody knows it's rebooting, so they don't see the point of seeing the movie. And the studio execs have said that. It's like, well, we think the fact that people know there's going to be a reboot is hurting it. It's like, well, no, duh, but you all made the decision to
Yeah,
release.
you let him say what he said. Like, I mean,
It's like you
turned him
all,
loose.
you all made that decision, so it's like.
what do
and
you think
maybe
it was gonna do?
I honestly, The Flash may do really well because of all the hype and because of Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
But Blue Beetle's going to tank. I don't think it's going to do well.
Oh, yeah.
Aquaman is popular enough; it might do okay too. But unless it
Apparently,
brings, like,
early showings of it, they're saying it's pretty boring.
yeah, that's what I've
Compared
heard.
to-
Aquaman?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I think the fact that James Gunn has to post the new Flash trailer and say, I've seen it, it's amazing.
Yes.
I think the fact that he has to do that tells me that it's probably not
and
amazing.
I think WB admitting, like, they're not blaming James Gunn and that, he's...
No, they're not saying it's his fault.
No, they're just saying, look, we knew that when the announcement came out of a refresh and we were going to give him full control, we're not downplaying what he's doing and what we've hired him to do. We're just saying we knew that would have ramifications for the outstanding movies we have.
Yeah.
And ultimately, that's the more disappointing thing is... I guess because they've already invested so much in these movies to begin with, why not release them? But that's what's so baffling to me is you basically, have 3 more movies, so 4 total on the slate this year.
That they just admitted don't matter.
Exactly. The Flash is the only one, presumably because of Flashpoint.
Resetting things, that matters, yeah.
And it's just hilarious that it's like you're going to introduce Blue Beetle and Aquaman is coming back for Aquaman 2, and I'm like... And we still don't think those are going to be relevant to the new DCU.
Well, they just announced that they've, which we already knew that Patty Jenkins wasn't coming back, but they announced that the whole Wonder Woman 3 scrapped. We're not even sure if Gal Gadot is still going to be Wonder Woman. So it's like, okay, if everybody's gone, should we presume that Jason Momoa is no longer going to be Aquaman, even though he has a movie coming? Because right now he's the last man standing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean,
I also found it funny too because they even mentioned and admitted that the first Shazam, while it was successful, it wasn't a huge hit.
No, it wasn't.
I mean, total gross was like 300-something million. And
it was a small release.
For a superhero film, that's pretty poor. Mm-hmm. I know it was a good outing for DCU, but, I
was going to say, even for a superhero you've not heard of, they can't use that excuse because no one knew who the hell Guardians of the Galaxy was.
That's true.
But it was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Well, and by that time, Marvel had submitted it.
They had, but still.
DC, you knew, was already going through trouble.
Yes.
And for Shazam to have been, it was the first kind of out of the dark, brooding type of Marvel or DCU movie you would have come to expect. So when you saw Shazam, you're just saying, well, Aquaman was kind of that way.
It was more
come out
comedic,
first.
yeah. Did Aquaman come out before Shazam? I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
I don't remember either.
I think it did, but I don't.
But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember that.
Did Aquaman come out before
the first
Justice
Shazam.
League?
No. Justice League was like 2017.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know, man.
2017.
I'm not like
2018.
I'm not a
Aquaman
huge
was
fan. I'm not
2018.
I'm not as hell bent towards it or against it like other people are. But I'm not like a huge fan of the Snyderverse. But I really just wish they would have just said, "Look, man, we're going in a different direction later down the road. Finish up what you're doing, and then we're hitting the reset button."
Yeah.
I mean, I don't understand why they didn't just do that. They could have done this Flashpoint thing because they're using characters that he created. So it's, I mean, well, not he created, but they're his movie characters.
Yeah, having
so
Michael Shannon back as Zod, that's from Snyder's Man of Steel.
Yes, exactly. It's just like, let him finish out his freaking thing and say, the Flash movie is going to be the reset point. We're going a different direction. You're out, but we want you to at least finish what you're doing because who cares? We're going to reset it anyway.
Yeah. Right.
And then hire Gunn or somebody else to come in and reset the thing.
Right.
Now you've got such dysfunction. And there's nothing coherent about anything that's going to come out for the next 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, I was real, and it's funny because you can go back and watch our previous episodes. I was really excited, or not. Excited's a strong word. I would say intrigued when they brought Gunn in. To really head up DCU.
Yeah.
But then it's like since his announcements and his rollout. And then their continual but we're still going to release these throughout the year. It's like, this is just all mixed messaging.
Right.
Why
it's
are
not
you
the
doing
plan
this?
that you
It's
originally
confusing
talked
as
about.
hell.
Yeah, you made it sound like you have this very well thought out structure. And then but now you're in disarray.
Right.
And you're confusing your audience. You're cannibalizing the movies that are coming out with the idea of movies that haven't even been filmed yet.
Yeah.
And it's like, you are destroying the DCU before you rebuild it again. And it's like, I don't think you had to do that. You could have preserved it.
Tweeting out pictures of the cover for
I know.
the new Superman
Did
movie.
you know that? Did you look at the guy? It looks just like freaking Andy. It looks like Spider-Man. What's his name?
Oh, Andrew
Garfield.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No, it can't be that.
No, I swear to God. Look at the picture.
Is it a fan? Is it a fan?
I think it's I thought it was a fan picture. But I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
though.
all I saw was the tweet where he posted. It was the script, the front of the script.
the script. Okay, that
what's
makes
it called?
sense.
Superman Legacy.
Legacy, yeah.
And it just had that, and it said written by James Gunn,
Yeah.
and it was just the cover page,
And
it
that's
was
fine.
just.
Oh, no.
When
I
I
was
saw
talking
it-
about that photo
Oh, yeah, I
that
haven't
shows
seen that.
Superman sitting on top of a building or something, and it's like it's Andy
Oh,
Garfield.
that's from the actual comics. that photo of him sitting on the rooftop is from. Is that?
Well, it says
Birthright?
Superman Legacy on the thing.
they used an image from.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. Birthright?
It sure looked like
Yeah.
Andrew Garfield.
Yeah,
It was
I'll
that
tell you.
Chat GPT image.
Maybe it
Somebody
was.
just
But it was
put it
AI.
together.
Yeah.
But all I know is when you're tweeting out
think
that and you're not even promoting the films that are set to come out this year, it's like it's this.
This one. No, I haven't seen this one.
What is
Go
it?
ahead.
Oh,
Yes,
no.
It's Andy Garfield.
Well, I haven't. I was gonna let you talk. I was just
Yeah,
trying
yeah.
to pull up. Yeah, this is definitely not. This is just a.
Is that fan
fan
made?
art.
I don't know that it's fan art. It looks like kind of just production art, like just an ideal of. But yeah, that one's not from the comics.
Okay.
There's another one of him sitting on the roof that I guess this is probably inspired by that I thought you were talking about. But yeah, that definitely does have a little bit of a Andrew Garfield look to it.
It does.
It does.
It says,
Well-
yeah, it gets a new fan poster reimagining
Okay.
the heroes. Okay.
Is that like Screen
Somebody
Rant or
tweeted that
something?
earlier.
This is Screen Rant, yeah.
Oh, it is. They
Okay.
have a lot of that sometimes.
Yeah.
But I just find it funny that I'm like, even if you know these films aren't going to mean anything, you've already come out with your roadmap. So
Yeah.
with that being stated, why wouldn't you spend the rest of this year at least drumming up support for these films that have yet to come out to at least give us an idea of, you can't have your foot in both, in and out on saying, oh, we're supporting James Gunn and the DCU vision he has, but at the same time, we still want you to go and support these movies that we know probably aren't going to matter.
Or maybe they should have held off on some of these big announcements until after these movies.
Yes.
It's like, look, I mean, I know a lot. We had even said it's like we'd like to know what they're doing. But if they had a surefire game plan.
Call me crazy, but it would have been great if after Flashpoint was when the news about the
Yes.
new roadmap came out. Because
That
you
would have
could at
made
least
sense.
say, now that you've seen the Flash and you've seen the restart button, we can confirm these projects are in the... And that would actually probably drum up some excitement for even what you have for the rest of the year, which are only 2 films at that point. You could have let Shazam 2 stand on its own to kind of have a little bit of an inkling of maybe they'll continue with this road, or this film and the cast of characters in it. Who knows? But you pretty much killed it.
Yeah.
Well, but they were still getting mixed signals because people tweeted James Gunn and they were like, "Is there any truth to the rumor that Zachary Levi is no longer going to be, Shazam?" And he's like, "That's not true," or whatever. And it's like, okay, so you're keeping him as Shazam. So then, how does the reboot work? Because that's the thing.
No,
It's
actually his answers are pretty vague.
Yes.
Sometimes he's like, I haven't heard anything like that.
Well,
I haven't said anything.
But for the Zachary Levi one, he was just like, it's like those are all rumors or whatever, which doesn't confirm it. But it's one of those things that I'm like, okay, but what are we to believe? Because so far you're booting out everybody else. At this point, if you keep anybody, it doesn't make sense. It's like you're going to keep who? Jason Momoa, Zachary Levi, and maybe Gal Gadot? You got 3 people? Well, the woman who plays Waller, too.
I just have this weird feeling that
Violin.
Viola Davis.
Yeah.
Gosh, why? And of all people, why would you keep her? Who
Yeah.
cares? But it's so funny because I feel like in a year and a half, 2 years, whenever Superman Legacy comes out, we're gonna be like, James Gunn is a genius. He just, the
would
writing
love
was
that.
on the wall.
Maybe
the whole
the movie
time.
might be great.
It could
but
be.
it's like I wouldn't say right now that the guy is a genius.
I agree. Here's the thing, because even if it's good, and even if this pans out to be a net positive for the DCU, I'm still, the mixed messaging is not good.
No.
And it doesn't matter if it, just like Shazam 2. The proof is in the pudding, and the numbers don't lie.
I thought you were going to say the proof is in the nuts.
Proof is in the nuts.
Proof is in the
nuts.
nuts.
So wait, I
She,
grabbed the wrong one.
You were just confused, Keith.
Yeah.
He's got gender dysphoria.
I will be honest.
I'm gonna
offended.
go ahead and affirm it,
I'm
so.
actually offended that Viola Davis plays Amanda Waller because in the comics she's a really big fat black woman, and if we're supposed to be spreading body positivity, they should have Lizzo play.
Look at Cleopatra. Cleopatra was white. She was Mesopotamian and Greek, and Netflix
Well, that
she's
would have
fat
made her
and black.
not white. She would have been olive skin.
Oh, dude, it was actually
Olive.
just a one politics story. It was kind of funny on
Yeah.
that matter of Netflix like diversifying. It said
It was it the
like
cocaine
the
one?
Tucker Carlson story from Netflix, and it showed Don Lemon on the cover.
I've seen a lot of memes like that.
great.
They have one that says cocaine, a Netflix documentary, and all the powder's black. So
It's just pepper.
yeah, so
I like
I've seen a
the
few of those
Cleopatra one was my favorite.
Oh, that was
Sorry.
fantastic.
That was good.
And it was freaking Lizzo.
But yeah, I'm just
Let's
saying
go.
they
Let's
didn't
go.
cast a accurate Amanda Waller.
Well, let's talk a little bit about our last headline, which happens to be that yes, The second round of Disney layoffs is happening.
Good.
4,000 people this time.
Do they have any left?
7,000 total cuts by the end of the beginning of the summer, I should say. They did their first wave in March. This is the second wave, and of course the final wave next month. It's 7,000 total members. They're estimating about a $5.5 billion cut in expenses.
That's crazy. It's great. And I mean, I feel like for the little people who are there trying to make a living, I feel sad for those who lose their jobs.
Half of them I don't.
Yeah, but let's say there's plenty, especially the ones they just settled the lawsuit with, which was stupid. Like, she deserved it. Good riddance.
Yeah, but she got millions of dollars because they cut her contract.
Yeah.
Which, granted, that could be chump change to them, and
Yeah.
I bet it is. But it's like it just proves that when you have these people and you hire them on a contractual basis, they're gonna win out.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like you can't sit here and promise them so much and then cut them short and be like, well, we don't need your services anymore. And it's just like they're just laughing to the bank.
She'll go on to act like she was proven right. It's like, no, you got rewarded the money because of your contract, and they broke that, not because you were proven right that they fired you over whatever stance
And here's the thing,
you have.
I'm fine with the fact that Disney has to pay it and they have to hurt a little bit because the fact of the matter is they hired her in the first place.
Well, they put. That's my point about when I say good about firing. It's not that I celebrate people losing their jobs, but Disney created this mess. They have a lot of fat they do need to trim, and it's one of those things where it's like, look, they reap what they've sowed, and this is part of it.
Well, and most of this is going to be in the ESPN.
I see that. They're going to cut the things they own before they cut themselves.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
but it's sad,
again,
though. I mean, it's 7,000 people are going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
This is just amazing to me that it says that's only 3% of the 220,000 people Disney employed.
Yeah.
Disney's massive.
Yeah,
That's insane.
that
It's
is.
massive.
But
They
the
are
fact
massive.
that it's like you can fire 7,000 people and
It's
that's
not a
only
dent.
3 Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not
But
hurting
again,
Disney.
okay, but think about
the 7,000
think
people.
about Elon buying Twitter, and he cut out 80%. 80% of the staff, and he even
I'm not
said,
saying they're necessary employees.
But that's my point.
I'm just saying they shouldn't have hired them to begin with.
Well, but a lot of these companies, they balloon to the size of during successful times, and they hire people in I think roles that are unnecessary to begin with, but to fulfill quotas or to push certain. I mean, the first round was in their metaverse, experimentation. And so they were looking for new ventures to start tackling and getting new capital coming into the building. I mean, look, businesses are going to find new areas to invest in that they think are something amazing on the horizon. I don't fault them there. The problem
But you can
is
spread yourself too thin as well.
right.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about here in our Storytime segment coming up. We first experienced MoviePass, but that's one of our main contentions with AMC recently. It's like they weren't prepared for the COVID pandemic. And you've got to be prepared for the worst of times. Otherwise, as a company, you show that ugly side of, oops, we don't really have it to back it up.
That they grew huge fast and didn't. Yeah, they did spread too thin.
And in Disney's case, I don't think it has to do with that, and so much as it just has to do with people turning away from their product because they've been getting into atmosphere they don't need to be, politically speaking. It's like they have definitely gone a woke route in a lot of issues. They've had backfire. They've lost a lot of market share because of it, and people have not been approving of Disney going down that path. And so you're starting to see the ramifications of it. And it's not like these jobs are going to go away forever if Disney reverts back. But like we've said on this show plenty of times, if Disney keeps going down the road that they're on, you will continue to see a dwindling enthusiasm and a dwindling, consumer base for their products. And I think it's interesting because it's like they're saying, oh, this isn't going to hurt the parks or the resorts. Those won't really be affected. And of course, that's a huge aspect of not only their business and a large part of what people are drawn to is that type of tourism. But that is where a lot of people are hired, whether it's their entertainers or the people that work the parks. And this is mainly on, I think, a lot of bloated fronts when it comes to the many different industries that they're involved in. I think ESPN is definitely far more irrelevant today than, say getting your sports entertainment from non-woke entities.
Yeah, well, ESPN has become political. It's not even about sports anymore.
No, I would agree. And so you're seeing those ramifications. The layoffs will continue. Ultimately, we'll have to see down the road what this really means long term. This is obviously part of that restructuring that Bob Iger was brought back in to kind of settle things on the rocky seas that Chapek had started. But again, Chapek was just handed, what Iger handed him, and Chapek just kind of doubled down, and we saw where it got him. So time will tell. Time will tell with Disney. Alrighty, guys, we're going to move on to our story time.
It's story time, where the podcast members tell their stories.
That never gets old.
Story time. We need to get that list back on the show sometime.
Do. I know.
It's working!
She is. She's working right now. She's a mom. Two
Mommy.
kids. She got 2 kids.
Yeah, we got to get her in between babies.
Babies.
Before she pops out another one, we got to get her in here.
Between the Lions.
Between the Lions?
Yeah, it's a show.
Oh.
What is that show?
It was in the 90s. It was like PBS Public Access. Jim Henson made Muppets. It was just
Of course.
I've never
Keith
ever
would-
heard of
Of
this.
course Keith would
That's
know this.
awesome. I'm glad he knows that.
Yeah.
Jim Henson. I love me some Jim Henson.
Between
He's
the
Dark
Lions.
Crystal.
Man, There's the other
it
one.
was warranted this
There we go.
I was happy with that one.
What's story time?
All right, our story time this week is about Movie Pass.
Pass.
It's back.
Stacy Sparks.
We got our movie passes.
Good old Stacy. She came through for
She's
us.
doing
She.
great. She is
She.
There it is. Hold on,
She,
hold that
her.
up.
She, her.
That's
No,
it.
Stacy's a him.
Hold it up.
Yeah.
He's a he him.
He's the color of this rapper.
I was gonna say we got a double
We
whammy there.
intentionally got it wrong.
Yeah. No, but
Let's talk about it. We finally used
it worked.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. We all subscribed.
Yep.
About, I think, Sean, you were first on board. I was first. Once they opened up the beta,
Me and Brandon followed.
I followed, and then we were just waiting on our cards to come. And then we finally, you had just got yours last week, and we were like,
Well, they're literally like, it'll be there within,
a week?
what they,
I think they
10
said 7
days.
Oh, 7 to 10 days.
10
I think
days
is what
I
they
think,
said.
Yeah.
I think that's what they said.
oh, it took mine longer than 10 days.
Mine didn't actually take that long. It took
I
about
think mine
7.
was like, I think mine was 2 weeks. I
Keith-
ended, I
Keith's was
ended
about
up having
2
to report
weeks.
it,
Yeah.
but
Oh, you did?
yeah, I reported it missing, but then remember my kids
found it
got the
later.
mail and
Oh.
left it laying
yeah.
somewhere, but that was only like a day
Yeah.
before I reported
But
it.
I mean,
so.
it really didn't take that long in hindsight. I mean, yeah, if it takes longer than the 10 days, then they might want to do better. But it did. It wasn't like last time. The first time I signed up, I didn't get it for like 3 months. It wasn't 2. It wasn't quite 3, but it was like we signed up in
2 months is
August.
a
And
lot.
we signed up in like August, and I didn't get it till like October. So I was just like, "What is this?"
So let's talk about our experience with it, because here's the thing, we're still all subscribed to AMC Stubbs A-List. We
Yep.
didn't drop
Yeah.
that subscription.
Well, it still offers the better deal, honestly,
Yeah.
for now.
Oh, he's got the card.
Look at that.
card out
It's
and
like,
show
well, you
everybody.
can show the front. All the info's on the back, so yeah, you don't have to worry about. Yeah.
Sweet. There
Yeah.
it is.
Boom.
For me,
Nice.
first of all, let's just talk about why this comes in handy, because Cinemark Preston, where we went, it was such a nicer experience in the whole.
Yes,
It's a clean theater. It's not broken. The seats are comfortable. They recline.
I
They
didn't have to take a
they
shower
have
after
heat
I
seat.
got
Yeah,
home.
you got a
usually you
seat
gotta
warmer.
bathe when you
Man,
get
I
home.
love that seat warmer.
I had to get.
I didn't really feel the warmth.
You gotta. It goes off after a while. So if you don't remember to turn it back on, you gotta turn it back
Either
on. so it
way, it's a
builds
leather
up.
chair, so you
Yeah.
get warm.
Yeah.
But you get
Nice.
cozy.
But it's comfy. The sound worked. Like the only sound that works at AMC is in IMAX.
Yeah, and even
So-
sometimes it's a little distorted.
Granted, the sound wasn't as good as IMAX, but it's a regular theater. I expect that. At least it was actually
Right.
working compared to.
I think that's
AMC.
what I was surprised by is
That the
we've
sound
gone
worked?
no we've gone to enough of the regular theaters at AMC
Yeah.
that it really is only like maybe 1 or 2 other theaters besides IMAX that are decent.
Yeah.
And even there are times where we've gone and the picture quality is fine, the theater spacing is good at AMC, but then the sound is awful.
Yeah.
There's no bass, there's no treble. It's like it's all about that bass.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I don't know. we were looking for the right experience because most of the movies we have seen in the last few weeks have been IMAX experiences.
Yep.
And I'm always happy to go to IMAX and support that.
Movie Pass right now doesn't support premium formats.
Right.
So that's another reason like we're not jumping ship from AMC yet.
And you can't order your tickets ahead of time.
And that almost became a problem at this. Luckily, the seats we got were actually nice, but most of them were sold out. So
and we were surprised because we're typically used to going to AMC where the foot traffic is very, very minimal.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of people there.
Yeah.
And so
Preston
on a
was crowded,
Sunday night for a rated R flick, there were a lot of people going to the theater for a 6:50 showing. I was almost very surprised.
Yeah, it was almost full. But even then, like,
it was opening weekend, but even still, it's like it's Evil Dead.
It's like me and you got there a bit early, but even like after like Sean got there almost right when the movie came, but he was still able to get his ticket fairly quickly. We all got in line to get snacks, and I was convinced. I was like, we're not going to get through this line before the movie starts because it was so long, and I'm used to AMC where they take forever. But
I'm just going to say it. This theater didn't have a handicapped person taking your ticket or giving you your food. Yeah,
so true.
So that went a lot faster.
But even the fact that the one woman, me and Brandon get in line, and there's this long line, and we're like, man, we're not going to get through this. And this woman comes up, and she's like, hey, we're splitting this into 3 lines, and like everybody got through fast. I was like, wow, AMC just would have let us stand here for half an hour.
No, not only that, but you would be in the Express Stubs line and still standing there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Because they take everybody else before you, even though you're paying more than everybody else.
They actually had people working. Like people were cleaning.
I'm
people were taking your tickets.
My privilege there. my Stubs privilege.
So
that we don't have because you don't
no,
get through any faster.
I pay for the privilege.
You just
but
don't
I
get
don't
it.
get
We don't get it.
Right.
It's funny. We're supposed to be talking Movie Pass. We're mostly comparing but that's kind of the nice thing
That's
about
why we got it.
Yeah, that's the point.
But that was the nice thing about Movie Pass is it did work. I checked in as soon as I got in the parking lot and went inside and was able to get the ticket. It does suck we can't pre-order right now. So if you're using Movie Pass, definitely you have to get there early.
Yeah. If you're going to see a movie that is a big release,
Like that was the big thing we talked about when we kind of were hit with the reality of the experience of this is Evil Dead on a Sunday night.
Yeah.
We were immediately like, if this was a Marvel movie
If
opening
it was Guardians
weekend,
of the Galaxy, we would have been.
Yeah, we would have had to have gotten there
out
an hour and a half before.
Yeah.
And hopefully, and again, that's also omitting the fact that there may be other people who subscribe to it's a lesser lesser benefits, but the Cinemark rewards where you do get one, and even it doesn't include premium format. But there may be others who are willing to pay that premium price just to get the reserved seating. So for us, it was because Keith got there and was able to check in. Plus, when he checked in, it was like, oh crap, we didn't know. Because of these reclining seats, like how close are we to the screen? There was only one row available.
We were the third row back from the screen.
And we're sitting here like, usually that's pretty close. We don't like it.
And honestly, I would be fine with that row again as long as we could get closer to the middle, which what we had wasn't terrible.
We were honestly debating once we got there. We were like, well, maybe we'll go down to AMC because it was a half hour later that showing.
Yeah.
And we had enough time to make it. And we were like, I was like, let's just go in. Let's get the seats. Because we know we have Movie Pass. If we're not going to use it, we've got the credits anyway.
Yeah.
So we went in, we got these seats. Once we got in the theater, we were like, oh, these are actually pretty good. And because Keith and I bought, 2 seats and then sandwiched Sean in the middle, it pretty much
we hoped if we left one open in the middle, no one would take it.
And I think that's where that's kind of where the
strategy
I was
comes
irked
in,
about the pre-ordering the seats is it's kind of like if one of you all got there before the other two and you get your seat, then we got to hope that nobody just decides to sit next to you and take our seat.
And actually, when Keith first got there and he checked, that same row, 3 seats were open in the middle.
Yeah.
And when he came back out, because you had taken a screenshot and you showed us, and that's when we were debating. And I had just pulled into the parking lot, which is when we went back in to check, and those 3 seats were gone.
And maybe they will in the future if Movie Pass offered a type of entourage thing like AMC has, where
that'd be awesome.
Where I had gotten there and I could have just grabbed our 3 seats in the middle right away. That would have been perfect. And I mean, granted, they technically, when you look at their emails, still say they're in beta. So this is kind of still their first comeback.
Yeah.
And it works really well if they can maintain it, because obviously we know part of the problem Movie Pass had in the past was that they were offering a deal that was not sustainable. It was not a sustainable business model. They were not making any money.
Oh, we knew when we jumped on the bandwagon not only how shady it was, but
$10 a month for
a movie a day.
Yeah, a movie a day, any showing. Yeah. It's like it was
any
crazy.
format.
Now, what they have now, I think, is more realistic, and I think it could. I mean, I'm hoping it works. And
I'm hoping
maybe
it grows because I think the features that we are looking for, the premium format and the reserve seating. Hell, I don't even care about discounts on food. I just, if you can give me those two things, and even though you only offer
premium
XD,
format's coming.
I hope.
Well, they say in their email that it is. It's just going to cost more credits. Yeah.
And that's fine with me.
You just pay more
because
credits.
we also found out
credits,
they roll over from at least 1 month ago.
Yeah.
And the fact that when we subscribed, we didn't use it for a full month. And we were only paying $10?
We're paying 10 right now, and that's for 34 credits.
So that could give you at least one movie a week. Because the way we averaged it based on unless you
some
see
of
a
them are
Friday,
20.
Saturday,
Yeah,
a Friday or Saturday showing,
the biggest
is more premium.
Yeah. The show times that people go to the most are like 20, the least are 10, and then like the average ones are 15. So if you go early in the morning, that is 3 tickets a month. And maybe they if 20 is the highest now, maybe premium formats will be about 30 points.
Or here's the thing: if you allow them, if they're just like 5 points more, and you're telling me I can pay $20 or $25, and the premium format is included, that still may make it worthwhile to go to that experience
tiers
over Movie Pass.
So
over AMC.
The $20 tier gives you 72 credits, and then they roll over up to 140.
Yeah. So what is if they add premium formats and it's 30 or 35 points instead of the 20? It's like, okay, well, we pay $20 a month for AMC now. If I pay $20 a month and still get 72 credits, that's still 2 premium movies
3 to 7
a month.
movies per month.
Yeah,
is what that would average.
That's
out
actually
to.
what. Yeah, you would actually get 2 premium formats,
and that would average out about what we do with AMC, anyways. I mean, there are times we go to AMC every week, so we'd have to watch. But I mean,
well, and in the case of the last few movies,
but they're not always
Creed 3,
premium.
John Wick 4, and Super Mario Brothers were all IMAX.
Those were
back
that
to
was
back
rare.
to back.
But honestly, amongst those, it's like the ones I really want to see, I'll go in premium, and like something like and I'll honestly
Dead.
Evil Dead I don't need. But I mean, even the ones you mentioned, we did John Wick, Creed, and there was another
Super Mario.
Yeah, in IMAX.
I don't understand this.
I
one,
could pass like maybe Creed in IMAX.
Their pro version is $40 a month, and it says you get 640 credits, roll over to 1240. And it says movies per month, 30, 1 per day while supplies last. What in the world would they mean while supplies last?
I think they pre-purchase like a certain amount of tickets, and if
maybe they mean like
know.
that subscription tier,
or maybe
is only,
it is, yeah.
Only until like enough people subscribe and they can't afford.
I mean, that's
anymore.
not bad. If you could afford 40 a month, it's like you have basically unlimited movies. But
I'm not trying to completely. I mean, I had a good experience. It worked.
I'm not.
We got there. We picked
AMC
our seat.
Stubs yet.
I scanned my card and it gave me the ticket. But I think for me, it still goes back to not only the premium formats being included, but the reserving of the seats.
The reserving
if I'm
going
to pay that much money, I'm not really paying just because I want to see these movies all the time. I still would prefer if I had some way to choose my seat other than showing up 45 minutes before a showing to pick it, because that's really kind of what you have to do with your time. Is with AMC, we know we can just show up literally 5 minutes before the show and just go scan and we get our seats. Go ahead.
I was just saying, show up 5 minutes before the show, not because we know the show's not going to start for another half hour anyway.
Well, that's true, too. And I remember that when we got in line for concessions, that's what you said. You were like, I'm afraid we're not going to make it because these movies actually start on time.
And it did. It started on time, but that was fine. We missed, I think, the Transformers trailer. We walked in at the end of it. I'm like, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. We've seen that. But no, I was very appreciative of Movie Pass. Thankfully, right now, it's not breaking the bank to have both. I don't want to have both for the future.
I don't want to pay $30 a month.
But there's just, I mean, and the other way that this could be benefited is I would almost be willing to pay Movie Pass $10 if Cinemark had something that was even slightly better than their rewards program, so that it gave me, better reserve seating or the 20% discount along with that. Because here's the thing, if I had the reserve seating through it, I could reserve it through paying that subscription and then just go and pay the movie pass for the ticket, and I'm happy.
Yep. Or if they're one ticket a month included premium format, it's like, okay. I mean, that would kind of stink because sometimes we'd see more than one premium, but that would still help kind of supplement movie
Well, it's
pass.
like the premium format. You said when you were reading the stuff online that you just pay the difference, like you pay extra.
That's what I would prefer.
So if it was like, you get your one free ticket and then you got to pay $3 or $4 more
for the
to have the XD, that would be fine because not only that, their concessions are already cheaper. Then you're getting 20% off. You're also getting points that I think you can use. Like
Cinemark's rewards thing does give you for their like discounts and stuff for their concessions.
Yeah. They advertised it was 20%. I looked it up. It was like one ticket per month and then 20% off concessions. But I don't know if they add points almost like AMC does, where you get 5,000 and it's $5.
I'd say 20% off their concessions is like getting 40% off at AMC because they're already 20% cheaper.
That's true too.
Yeah,
because me and Sean both noticed it's like I got. For $18, something that would have cost me over almost $25 at AMC. Sean, something that is like $16.50 at AMC.
So if
he's paid $13.
If you're one
for.
ticket a month, if you can pre-order a ticket and choose your seats ahead of time, it almost would be more worth the money to pay $10 for Movie Pass and $10 for Cinemark, so that the one big movie. Every month that we want to make sure we get seats early, we could do that.
Right.
And
well, and
you could leave AMC.
True. And I would and that would echo the same point that Keith, you were making, whereas I would be willing in that case to forego something like Super Mario Brothers in IMAX or XD.
If more than one comes out a month,
But if I also knew that the theater quality of the others was actually still decent. Because that's my issue with AMC is if we don't go see it in IMAX, it's a crapshoot what theater you're going to get, and it's going to be terrible.
It's like, there's certain movies that while I would like to see them in IMAX, I'm okay seeing them regularly, unless, like you said, you're in a crap, like Fast and the Furious. Like, I definitely want to see that in IMAX.
Yeah,
Cinemark's or Preston's regular theater was way bigger screen than the regular theaters at AMC.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Well, and also I hate to say it, but it was like as soon as we sat down in those reclining chairs,
it was like
it was. I mean, that was
care
a
what the screen
difference.
looks like at that point.
I felt like I was sitting at home.
Yeah,
I was reclining. For the first time in a movie in a long time, I'm always shifting and everything. Just we always sit
trying
behind
not to
the
break
bar
your seat.
because the bar I use for my footrest anyway, and it's just I'm always shifting in my seat to get comfortable.
Yep.
I felt comfortable, and they have the little tray that swivels over if
Yeah.
I've got something to eat. It was a very enjoyable experience.
Yep.
I was very happy that we stuck with it and we used Movie Pass and it actually worked for
Didn't come out of the movie theater with a sore back because I was sitting lopsided for 2.5 hours.
True.
Not walking in and seeing just things draped over seats like out of order.
Yes.
I mean, my
It's like,
gosh.
sorry, this is broken.
Yeah, I didn't
we might
use
fix it one day.
I didn't use the bathroom, but I guess the bathrooms
it was
looked
clean.
good too.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
me and Brandon, we did, and they weren't sticky. They didn't have crap all over. There wasn't mold growing
That
on the
picture
urinals.
that I took of the AMC bathroom.
Oh, dude, we got to show.
That
Do you
is-
still have it?
Yeah, I still
Can we-
have
can
it.
we
I have
show
all
it on
kinds
camera
of,
here?
I have all
Oh, my
kinds of pictures
God.
of AMC.
The fact
I
that
don't know
I
if you
went
want to
up.
show that on our show. Dude.
Oh yeah, we'll probably get
I've
blocked.
sent it. I've done every survey that AMC gives us that they print out with the tickets. I've done
Are
every
you ready?
single one.
Yeah, it is. Let's go. Show it up.
Yeah, it's gross. It's gross.
Dude. Oh my god! It looks like chicken noodle soup.
Oh,
I
that's
think
not
it
even.
is. It's like butter and popcorn.
I have sent AMC pictures that look worse than that when they do our surveys, and have still never heard. Like, they even ask at the end of the survey when you give a really bad review, they're like, "Would you be interested in someone reaching out and talking to you about this visit?" And I say
Nobody
yes.
does, yeah.
Nobody has ever emailed
Nope,
or
they don't have
called.
the personnel for that.
And I'm just like, I'm sorry, but
Dude,
you all need to fix your theater.
I was baffled because every faucet I went to actually worked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's only one.
There's
out of
only
four.
one out of four.
AMC that works.
And the freaking facade that is like
the sink facade's
the
falling
sink
down
is
at
complete.
AMC. Yeah.
It's gradually over the last 3 months has lost like a nail each time.
It's completely
And
falling
They
now it's
apart.
didn't just
completely
take it
gone.
off. They just left it laying there.
Yes, I know.
It's like gravity finally took its toll on that.
Well,
It's
how
falling
hard
off.
is it for? And granted, I know it's like, well, I'm not a maintenance person, but it's like, man,
I
if
want to
something
step
like that,
on one of those nails and then sue them.
Yes.
But how
Yeah.
hard is it to get a little hammer and tack that back up there? And it's
not.
like, and I know they'll be like, well, I don't get paid for maintenance. Like, I'm sorry, but that's part of, take care of your
maybe
Next time I
venue.
go, I'm going to tell Sawyer. I'm going to tell one of my kids, I'm like, step on that nail. Take one for the team.
Get some
you
tetanus.
a kid getting hurt is
man.
way worth more money.
It'll be
than
worse
an
than
adult
that.
getting
They'll
hurt.
probably have to amputate his leg from tetanus.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
wouldn't
doubt
let
it's
that,
on there.
I wouldn't let that happen.
I'm telling you, you don't know what's on those
Say,
screws.
yeah, there's no telling
I'll
at
use
AMC.
some hand sanitizer on it first, and then just step on it. Real
I don't
quick.
know. You sue him, you might end up.
I'll buy
owning
you a
the-
Lego set. Step on it.
It's like you could
It's
sue
like with the
and you may,
millions of dollars we get, I can buy you a lot of Legos.
You
son.
might end up owning that gold mine. You know, you
That's
take that right
true.
out from under AMC.
Maybe
Straight
then
up
we
true.
can go in and just open up our own theater.
Yeah.
Finally make the
I mean,
Red
we
Moon
live in a
Theater.
country that's all about child sacrifice. That's the kind of child sacrifice I'd be
still,
willing
you
to
know,
do.
I still get baffled by that. It's like, let's take the money we have and reinvest it in our theaters. No, let's invest in a gold mine.
It's still, I know, it's baffling, and yet they still haven't profited.
I don't know what
They own a literal gold mine.
They've
And they
been
still
watching
don't have
the
money.
They've been watching the advertisements on Fox News. They want to invest in gold. They're like, we got to get ready for when China takes over our economy.
Devane.
We got
Buy this gold bar. Support your
Birch
local
gold.
theater.
Ben Shapiro used to advertise that too.
Yeah.
Birch gold. Oh, they still do.
He's still, you know,
Gosh.
Yep.
hedge against your investments.
Diversify.
Diversify. That's what AMC is doing.
AMC is
They're
diversified.
diversifying greatly.
They're diversifying themselves right out of
Gosh,
business.
yes.
Oh.
Shoot.
Alrighty,
All right.
guys. Thank you all so much for tuning in for our show this week.
Yeah,
Do you want to subscribe to Movie Pass?
I do.
Or do you want to get rid of your AMC Stubbs A-list?
Yep.
Why don't you email us and tell us about that experience if you want to do that? What is that email? Keith, do you know what that email is?
I do.
What is it?
I guess it might be RMPodcast at redmoonproductions.com.
I love it.
Man.
He had to take a breath. He was like,
I had to. I had to shift. Well, I had to shift my vocal. I had to
That's
change the.
Shift my
You got-
vote.
I had to change
He
it.
is gender dysphoric.
You gotta,
we
you
have
know.
discovered on this episode that,
no,
Keith can't control.
No.
if you sign up for Movie Pass, use promo code Red Moon and you get 20% off.
It's called,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
called
yeah.
voice acting, Brandon. You change, just like acting, you change your voice and act.
Did
You
y'all
don't,
see
you
Kevin-
don't actually become.
Kevin Sorbo's tweet on that?
Oh, no, what, acting?
Somebody like called him out and they were just like, I forget what it was. Oh, they were saying something about, like he was like, they were lambasting him for being Hercules or whatever. And he was like, yeah, it's called pretend. Like he was just carrying on calling him like, that's not the same as like cutting your genitals off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was pretty good though.
Well,
it was a pretty
He's got a
good
new
comeback.
Left Behind movie
I
coming
butchered
out.
it.
wanna
I
see
butchered it like we're butchering tons
Yeah,
of teenagers out there. But you can like, share, subscribe, follow us on all of our social media
serious,
accounts. Right there. I am serious. At the bottom of our screen. Red Moon Book, Red Moon Tweet, Red Moon Picks, and search for Red Moon Productions on YouTube and search for it on Rumble. Subscribe on there as well. We share the love with Rumble as well. We're hoping several months down the road. It's expensive. To get on there live. Be live every single week.
Be live.
Because
be live.
we randomly found out last week we may be shut off on Facebook. Who knows?
Yeah.
We may have to start
We
sharing.
had
the
viewers.
YouTube.
We
Yeah.
had viewers this
Okay.
week, so I'm assuming we were on air
I hope
because we had multiple, way more than we did last week. So.
because it's surprising to me. Facebook is now starting to censor. Just it used to be that you could finish a live show. And then the copyright strike that we would have to dispute, and eventually it would get removed, and our show would live on.
Yeah.
But it's like it used to be after the live show that would happen. No, now they're starting to freaking crack down on us like during the live show and just cancel
you know
it.
we start at 9:00 on Facebook and YouTube. If for some reason you try to start watching us live on Facebook and we're not there,
Go to
or it doesn't
YouTube.
show up in your
Go to
feed,
YouTube.
Yeah.
go to YouTube
Go
and
to-
watch us. We will be there.
We're on Red Moon or Tweet. We're on Twitter. Like
Yeah.
our live feed actually shows up on Twitter, and you go there and find us. But yeah, go to YouTube, find it. Honestly, if you know us, text us. Let us know that Facebook's blocking it, and we'll try to get on there and maybe reset something, or we'll at least post the link to the YouTube
You
clip
know what's
live
funny
show.
though is like last week, and I mean this just conspiracy theory, but it's almost like every time we do a really bad review, it's because last week was a bad review against Universal and they blocked us live. The week before we gave Mario a good review and we got stricken but not live. So it's like
Right.
both
and here's
Universal.
like I said, and all that's true.
It's like
and
Universal
you would
didn't like
think too. one is Super Mario. The other one was what was last week?
Renfield.
Renfield.
Who gives a crap if you like? Nobody's seeing that movie against Mario. You would think they'd care more about copyright material on Mario.
Oh, I have no doubt that's why we way back got struck down on Candyman, the remake.
Oh yeah, because we
we gave it not only an unfavorable review, but
what was
I
the one with?
I had to blur out the footage completely to post it.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
That's so
because
stupid.
they wouldn't. No amount of editing I did.
No one's talking to you, Siri.
Man, Siri just keeps
I'll
interrupting
tell you
you.
what, man, they're always listening.
Of course.
I need to loosen it up a little bit. Sometimes I get it real tight, and then when I lift my hand up, it hits.
It does that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The wheel.
But all right, guys, that's gonna do it. So yeah, let us know if you don't see our live show. Text us real quick. We'll maybe try to get on Facebook and post the YouTube live link because thankfully they don't block us until
What
after.
was the movie that was nominated about the crazy lady who was going on a vendetta to kill the bad cis men? Because they blocked us for that one too.
I don't.
And I
remember.
can't. And I
That's
remember
like
her
every
act-
movie that's
yeah.
ever made right now.
I'm trying to remember the actress too because she got tons of praise, and I mean she did a really good job. I just can't
movie
even.
you're talking about.
Yeah, it was not last year. I think the year before.
What?
He's talking about the year before. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a while ago.
2021.
I just remember like us getting blocked for that one too, and we said it's probably because of that.
I'd have to
man,
look it up. I can't
wouldn't
remember.
even. Yeah, I
We've
wouldn't
reviewed
even.
so many movies. We're cultural.
Yeah.
We just.
I'm gonna look it
remember-
up after the show. It just seems to me that we do get dinged worse when it's movies that we give a bad review for.
Yep, I would agree. They
Mm.
want to stop the bad press, even though we don't get. Well, I mean, we've got a few traction on some of the.
Yeah,
smaller
like they
hits.
don't care if anybody watches it or not. They just like we don't want it out there. Somebody
Alrighty,
may
guys.
find it one day.
That's going to do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Until next time, I'm one of your hosts, Brandon Davidson, alongside our normal new host,
Vanilla Steam.
Ooh, there it is. And
Mustard love.
yeah, he remembered.
We hope you enjoyed this week's episode. For more reviews, previous podcast shows, and everything Red Moon, visit our website, redmoonproductions.com. You can also like us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for Red Moon Productions, LLC. We'll see you at the movies.